Though we may not have covered that in our conversation this morning, I would want us to, or would want to hear from you. At times, when we are looking at where we want to become, we want to get in the future, we are intimidated by what it might cost us. And here I'm looking at both material and other sacrifices.
Time,
yes,
all those things.
Exactly. So what would be your advice to us at this stage? Because those sacrifices will have to come, or those costs will have to come. What would be your advice to us so that we can be, what would motivate us to remain focused on the between me and what would be your advice to us at this stage?
In order to get
there,
true, to remain true to that vision at the 80th birthday, there need to be sacrifices. So what is my advice on it? I can give you mine. When I hit my 40s and we are retiring at 55, started hearing from my friends, John, are you not thinking of what will happen to you after 55? Because I'm working, but I'm so involved in ministry, like I still remember buying a piece of land, and the day in Kinagot, the day I have talked to my workman, we are coming, we are planting. Kenyatta University invites me. Now I realize some of you are from KKU.
Several.
And the day we have agreed with my family, because I also want my children to learn about farming. So do I go and plant, or do I go to KU? And it was a difficult decision. That's when the question came, what do I see long term is my calling? And I realized if you go to my website, you will see what my vision is and mission is. I realized that Warui keeps interfering with the eyesight. No, now you're okay. Now you're okay. Now, and I realized I see myself investing in people more than in potatoes. So I finally had to forget about the potatoes and go to Kenyatta. And anytime there is a collision between going to young people and doing my farm, I realize where to go. But I still need it because I'm still going to retire. I still need it. And if you are proactive, you cannot assume you will not retire. You must prepare for retirement. So what came to my mind is, what can I do that will still be useful economically, but will not take my time? So for example, I went and planted 7 acres of trees, because trees will take 1 year, where you have workers and you have to keep going. Once they are stuck 1 year and they are growing, I even fired the workman. I went and told my neighbor, if you see anybody cutting these trees before I have told you, no, he is a thief. Report him to the chief. So I no longer now needed to go to the place. In fact, I have not appeared there for 2 years. I use a telephone. I asked somebody, how are my trees growing? The other day somebody called me and he said, I asked for your telephone because I can see I need to buy your trees. Now that's now a buyer noticing, because of course trees are not everywhere.
Yeah.
So when they see a forest of 7 acres of a forest, people are saying, whose?
Yes.
And a few years ago, I was able to, I wanted to sell them to the Kenya Power, and I couldn't get through. Then I said, I'll sell to anybody. Somebody came. And what I needed now is to agree with somebody. Nobody will leave this land until the money hits my M-Pesa. So once the money hits M-Pesa, I say, allow him. So you are paying me before the lorry leaves.
Yes.
So one lorry after the other, and I was able to sell the whole forest. Now, I can do that without using my time. I also discovered that a lot of the businesses, you'll be told by Roy, the accountant, if you get a return that is 20% and above, it's a rare return on investment. Waroi, would you agree with me? So if you can get about 10%, 15%, you are getting good return, isn't it?
Yes.
And I discovered sometimes you go to the central bank announcements, and sometimes the return they can get. In fact, I got another time I got treasury bonds at 16% return on investment. Very few businesses can give you higher.
Yes.
And central bank will give you that without wanting your time at all. In fact, if you disturb them, they will ask you what's wrong with you. You give them the money, every 6 months, they throw the money into your account at 16% divided by 2. So if you have put $1 million shillings there, it means by the end of the year you get 160,000. So the 80,000 in June, the other 80 in December, bang, bang, and they don't require your time. I can continue preaching, but if I put $1 million shillings there, instead of putting it in a business which needs my time, if I put it there, take 160 divided by 12. It means I can plan to every month I'm getting how much. Who is the accountant? Yeah.
10,000 and some hundreds.
Yes. It means that I can plan my life on whatever the figure per month and be assured. And I do not have to put my time at all in it. The only thing they say in economics, the higher the risk, the higher the profit. Now you can't want to have all your time in ministry and go to those risk things that require your time. So you have to know that there's give and take. That has released me. That's why you hear me writing 20 books, because I'm available. But that doesn't mean, I don't sit to wait for my children to look after me. I have to plan my life such that my children are not my retirement. I'm able to, when you invite me here, I'm able to put petrol into the car myself without, and once in a while, the other day I was invited in Juba and looking at the country, I just told them I'll participate in buying my own ticket from these investments because I can see clearly. Another time I was invited in Zambia, and the guy told me he had had me in Kenya on stewardship. I've written a book on stewardship, and he said that message is required in Zambia. But we can't pay your ticket. The best I can see this church being able is half. Will you come? I said yes, I'll pay my own ticket. And he refunded half, and we went some 300 kilometers from Lusaka to some place where the men were having a retreat. Spent the whole time together at my cost, not at their cost. You have to plan and don't start making it look like you can't do both. I'm an example that God has, now that I've been retired for a long time and I have not needed to beg, God has been able to provide simply by, and I've given you 2 examples. Of course, now I do consultancy work, but I do the kind of consultancy where if I have a ministry opportunity and you are paying me, I will reject the paid one in order to do this one, because what's driving me is my calling. And if I can see the consultancy is not helping people the way I feel God called me to help, I would surrender the one for payment to do the one free, because I know God will meet my costs. Am I communicating?
Yes.
So I'm able to do that because I have discovered the Lord is able to provide. But it's not, I have thought proactively. And I thought that when I was in my 40s. Am I communicating? So for example, for you to be a pastor and you have no retirement scheme, not to have a pension scheme, it's not clever. Because you have a place of employment does not have to have a pension scheme. Pension scheme, according to IRA, you can get private pension schemes within one of the insurance companies, supervised by the government IRA. And you invest, and they advise you. If you want at the age of 60 to start earning 100,000 per month. Then they'll tell you if you are 30 years, that means you are going to contribute for 30 years. If you contribute 5,000 shillings per month, and they do the arithmetic, they tell you that is equal to 100,000 per month until you die. But you have to do it. The earlier you are, the easier. Because if you start making that decision at 50, then what was 5,000 at the age of 30 will be something like 20,000 per month. So this discussion should not be involved in your 40s. It should be before you are, because you plan. And you can see clearly, you will continue ministry in your old age. I told you I'll be 70 in my birthday this year. Now, and you can continue as long as the Lord gives you. Your age is sickness. If you are not sick, you are not old. I'm not communicating. So you can continue, but you need to finance your ministry. If you believe like me, that instead of relying on people, God helps you to do other things that can furnish with, so that you do ministry for free, because there are things you are doing. And I charge for my consultancy. The other day somebody told me I could see they are rich. So I told he says, can you come? We're having a conference. And I said, we met to agree the quotation. I said, 2 hours? What do you think? No. Don't charge too much. About 100,000 would, beyond that, the budget will not allow. I said, I'm agreeing agreement. And I went for 2 hours. And they already prepared the money. So I left the place with my check of 100,000 for 2 hours. But immediately I was called somewhere else. Nobody was paying. So God was giving. The reason I was getting so much is because of the next number of trips where they cannot contribute anything. That's my life. And I thought I better share it at a personal level, so that I'm not giving an academic talk. Yeah, that's really what you need to do. At least I would encourage you at your age. Nobody should fail to have a pension project where you are not looking at your children, looking after you in old age, and you determine, I would like my pension to be this amount of money when I'm old, per month, until I die. Then ask these guys, because they are called actuarial scientists. They can calculate on probabilities. They will tell you, if you save this month, every month this much. And it's normally not a lot of money if you are young. It's only more if you are old. It will be equal to this much until you die. Of course, me, I was in an organization, so I already get a pension in addition to the other things I was telling you. But I'd like you to do that in addition to all the other things you are doing, so that you have a proper plan. Let me give you 3 reasons why you need a pension. Number 1, our children are not the children. Your children are likely, you are my children. Now you are a little better. Yours will be worse. they see the globe as their village. Yes. That means you have 3 children. One will settle in Australia, the other one in Singapore, and the third one in Britain. You will be in Kenya alone. Even if they want to help you, they don't see your needs. Even if somebody keeps visiting, like you visit us. Yes. So you live proud. But if you are not in there somewhere, so how can you start imagining your children will be your pension when you can see the structure of the world has actually changed? Number 2, if you save using other methods, you lose the government assistance. Pension is not taxed. If you invest, like now I sell my trees, I must declare it. And I'm taxed. But my pension doesn't get taxed. I get it without any tax. So how would I go to where I'm enriching the government if there is an alternative where I can invest and get money without paying tax? And that's why the government has made it such that in order to encourage pension schemes, it makes it foolish to invest elsewhere before you invest in pension. Because pension intervention does not stop you investing elsewhere. So first of all, clear with your pension, then invest in other places because of the return. The third reason why it is important to invest in pension is because However little the money is, you can budget on it. Or the incomes rise and fall. But his pension is constant. So, like I told you, I'm doing many things. But the little I get from the share pension scheme, I can plan on it. I can tell my wife, we will go to Naivasha on the basis of that. But these are the things. I may not get a consultancy, or I may not get my investment not work. The trees may not grow as fast like happened when I planted them. I was told in 5 years I will harvest. 8 years later, I was still wondering whether to cut them or not. Now, so it can all these investments have a higher return, but also higher risks. So I think it's important to ask yourself, why would you be earning regularly and you are not putting some money for retirement? And they say, Okoro Oyaga with it. Now that's a Kikuyu saying, but it happens to be also biblically right. that basically you are supposed to earn when you are young and use it for old age. You know, the Bible is even saying something more interesting. It's not the children who should save for parents. It's parents who save for children. So the African system where we leave our children to look after us is not what the Bible is backing. The Bible is saying it is you that should save enough such that your children, when they are struggling and they are to start off, you actually take money and assist them. But now, when we are brought up, that is my age group, and I'm hoping you don't copy us, is that it is the children to look after us. You know, our parents struggle to educate us. As soon as you finish school, the guy can't even buy himself milk. You had, how come he was paying school fees? Now he is totally helpless unless you send the money home. It's an attitude, philosophical issue. I'm praying that you people don't copy us on that one. Thank you for your question. But I was not answering your question alone. I was answering other questions that are not asked. But to be fair, Warui had told me such questions could arise. Yes. So that's why I'm taking time on it. Next question. About things we may have said and I didn't clarify. And it's time. I write my name.
I've written the name.
All you need is a signature.
Yes.
That I will give you.
To give us lunch.
Now, so anybody else with a question or a comment or something I said and you want to comment on it, positively or negatively, whichever.
Yes, I have a concern.
Yes, go ahead.
This kind of people, the three kind of people that you talked about, there was this is the first one to just leave.
The unchanging guy.
Is there anything that can be done probably to transform their life, please?
That's why I came to this meeting. Yes. The moment you have heard who you are and what is wrong with who you are, I'm telling you there is nothing difficult about moving to the next stage and to the third stage. The trouble is, I'm wondering, I'm not very sure, how many times have you had somebody talking about what I was talking about? Telling you there are people like that. How many times have you heard? Huh? Now, no, I'm saying, have you had somebody challenging them to change from being in this group of unchanging? Have you had? No. So the problem is not them. It is you people. Because you are addressing people and you never challenge them on that. You know, Jesus said, those who believe, teach them to obey whatsoever I have told you. And what I read in the Bible is Jesus teaching, isn't it? Yes. But is it taught in church many times? Yes. Do you teach people about the danger of not being proactive? No. At least where I've gone, I've not had much. So the problem is simply lack of discipleship, lack of teaching. If you teach people, come to think of it, Brother has said, this is wrong, that's what I'm being. The person themselves on their own volition will start fighting that attitude. Have I answered your question? So challenge people. And you don't even have to tell them how to move out of it. Tell them the dangers of being there. And they'll start working out of the place. In their prayer life, in their way they relate with people, they will start going out of that unchanging attitude. Am I making sense? Am I?
Yes.
Okay. The last person before we go to other.
What about the second group of the people that we have to be? I don't know whether they not.
Try to be a little louder.
Yeah, I'm saying what about the second group?
The what?
The second.
Oh, the reactionary guy.
Yes.
Sorry to disrupt. So give out your card to Caroline so that it takes it to the reception so that we are not charged for the night because you've not checked out. Sorry for.
No, all of it is called administration.
Yes.
And it's being proactive.
Yeah.
You don't want to complain, we checked out.
Yeah, then we are told there's a bill.
Yes.
Okay.
Now the reactionary guy, you asking how can you help him?
Yes, sure.
I suggest 3 things. The first one is to commend him for not being unchanging. Let him realize. Because sometimes he is there, but he has not realized the advantage of being there. And people, because they think they are doing well, if you don't start by commending them, they will raise a barrier against what else you say. So the first thing to help this guy is to show him how good he is, that he is not there. You know that normally reactionary people are not negatively. Am I right? But you need to show him that the idea of you do not want to waste any experience, whether good experience, bad experience, I can only tell you the lesson out of it. That is a very progressive person. Because like I told you earlier, he is continuously moving to better and better ground. Having told him this, tell him what I was saying earlier. Experience is a good teacher, but a very expensive teacher. If you wait to learn from experience, you always pay very heavily out of it. Because you have an accident, like now the way to learn that to check out on time is to get a high bill, say, hey, next conference, we shall never repeat it again.
Yeah.
But you have already paid, the hotel is richer. So experience is a good teacher, but a very expensive teacher. So tell him there's an alternative. Before any decision you make, force yourself to think about what can go wrong. Because normally, people decide on the basis of what can go right. That's what excites them. Like this guy, hiya, a tower. It will be the biggest in the town. Blah, 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 blah. They are thinking about what can go right. About the money side, running out, changes in cement prices, that's not a matter you want to think about. You have to force yourself. And it can be quite difficult. Especially if you are married and your wife doesn't want that, they call it you are being negative. How can you call yourself a pastor? And you are being negative. So to convince somebody to think as per Philippians chapter 4 verse 6 to 7, where you get a concern first, then get it into your prayer, and God shows you what to do, it's not going to be easy. So you must help this person to realize how negative, how bad this good thing called reaction can be. Then force him as a way of life to always ask what can go wrong. You know, like yesterday we agreed with my friend when to start here. And we said 1.5 hours should be enough. Then he told me, why don't we plan to be here earlier? So we begin around 7. That means you'll be here by 8:30. But I've committed myself for 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we are here early enough. He tried his car and the car didn't start. So we could not start at 7. At 7:30 I was already frantic, and then my wife said, why are you getting so worried? You know, I have no idea exactly when are we starting. And I don't want to leave him. So, because we made arrangement for arriving early, the other minute we wanted to be here, we just arrived on the car park 5 or 10 minutes to 9 o'clock. Still on time. Am I communicating? I like giving a personal examples. Those of you who have heard me, you know I do that all the time. You can see clearly, if I don't have that proactive culture, Hata Naivasha, see 1 hour. You know we have been coming to Naivasha 1 hour. Slowly traffic has built until we are now planning on 1.5. But you don't plan 1.5. Next week, I'm supposed to be speaking at Masida Mulilo University. And I plan to be in Nakuru for another function on Saturday, next Saturday. And I accepted both because I'm flying to arrive in Kisumu very early in the morning. If I'm there by 7, the road to Kakamega has been resurfaced. So 1 hour I'll be in Masida Mulilo. Only to discover after, and I've not gone that way since the 2 years of COVID. They have changed the time to 9 something.
Right,
It's the first flight.
Yes, 9:20.
So I was stuck.
It's not on a 6:15.
Yes. So I've had to run quickly to Maziromero and ask, is it okay if I give an alternative? Because either I cancel Saturday, I can't be there in both. The fact that I'm doing it, I'm booking my ticket more than 2 weeks earlier, gives me enough time to look for an alternative speaker. Am I communicating? But if you don't want to think about what can go wrong, you book 1 hour at a time, isn't it? And then you discover you can't arrive. And you can't go to anybody because you didn't give yourself time. So it's a very expensive to be reactive. Is very, very expensive. Am I communicating?
Yes.
And unfortunately, the average African is reactive or unchanging. Very few of us are actually proactive. And proactive is think about the thing, think about what will go wrong before it goes wrong. 3 advantages of that. Number 1, when you think proactively, you can actually prevent things going wrong. So your productivity or result will be higher because you thought about what can stop your productivity. So you are able to correct it in time. So the thing may never go wrong. Number 2, even if it actually goes wrong and you have thought about it, you have thought of ERS, Emergency Response Plan. If this could go wrong, it doesn't have to go wrong. If it actually goes wrong, this is what I will do. Now it has really gone wrong, but if you do what you have planned, it will reduce the impact of the wrong thing. You know, if you thought in terms of, like I used to be in charge of logistics in Shell, as a way of being proactive, we were able to book hospitals on this route from Mombasa all the way to Kisumu, telling our long distance drivers, if you get an accident here and you are at this hospital you go to. Most of them never went to those hospitals, but you have an arrangement such that they don't start asking for money at the time the guy is dying. What happens? You have not stopped the accident, but the guy will not die because you'll be received and worked on without asking for money. Am I communicating? And it has lost. Shell has lost nothing because that's an arrangement, and the hospital is happy to be assured all Shell casualty will be coming here out of the hospitals on Nakuru or Naivasha. This is where they will come. So this proactive culture, and I hope you are getting it, allows to reduce the impact because part of it tells you what to do to prevent it happening, and also tells you to prepare. In case the wrong thing happens, what do you do about it? Let me give you another example. See, we've been married for 33 years soon. We have taken many loans. But every loan my wife and I takes, we start by assuming, why do we need the loan? Must we take the loan? Because loans can give you a lot of trouble. Don't take it unless you have to take it. Number 2, what are the advantages if I take the loan? Number 3, what in the unlikely event am I unable to pay it? Because you see, you don't plan not to be able to pay, but things happen beyond your control. When you see people's things are being auctioned, don't always assume that they did a bad thing. They may have done absolutely nothing bad, but events, assumptions they made never happened. So you are being sold. What do you do about it? Now, if you think that way, then you think scripturally, where they say you should not use your bed as collateral. In fact, the guy giving you loan is told, if you dare touch that bed, God will not leave you. You have read that in the Bible?
Yes.
So it means that you cannot take a loan on the house you are living,
In.
except if you are not biblical and you also are fool. Now it's very important to understand, because you are taking where you are sleeping. Take a loan with something else. Where in the worst case scenario, when it happens and it is sold, you can still survive. Your children are still safe in your house. Now, but you can't think like that, because when you're taking the loan, you can't create the possibility
Of not paying.
of never not paying. So you don't think through. Think through about that possibility, and then what do you do to ensure it doesn't happen? And then in case it actually happens, can you cope? If you can't cope, don't even take the loan, because it could happen. So if you think you'll be finished, that's not a risk worth taking. There are risks worth taking and risks not worth taking. But how will you arrive at the risk not worth taking if you don't assume the worst case scenario? I hope I've answered your question. Okay then. And we say that is the last. So please go to the one on work-life balance.
Oh, now they drive.
Yeah.